Hey, Kazaroo.
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. Hello.
Hello
Hello.
there. Hello. We're all alone. I just popped a
I
post in
don't,
our. I just
well,
popped a post.
it's been so long. I forgot what day we were in. PM, AM, deleting different streams. Got to get it
Uh,
right. I don't think we're alone. I think people are in the bushes.
oh, really? You think? Well, I just popped a little note in our group on Facebook to just let everybody know that we are here. If you want to come and join us, you're more than welcome.
Oh yeah, we have an update. Oh, this update has aggravated me.
Just a
I'm like,
tad.
nope. Hey, Chisme, how's your phone going, girl?
Hola.
Hola, ¿qué pasa? So we have decided that we're going to call this little crazy community the zoo. All of you guys got to pick a spirit animal.
Hi,
Hey, Dia,
dear.
pick a spirit animal. We're going to be the zoo.
I'd like to change mine from the roo.
No, you're the roo. I'm the monkey.
No, I want to be a panther.
No, you are not going to be a panda. You know what they say about the pandas?
Not a panda, a panther.
Oh, a panther.
Black panther. I always love white panthers.
Chisme wants to be a chihuahua.
Oh, they're fierce.
Oh, shit. We'll
They're
wait a
fierce.
couple of minutes. People might come in.
So, how is everybody? How are you handling the cold over there? Is it warming up? Because I want it to
Who?
cool down over here because I'm over it. I'm tired of the heat. I'm tired of
We're
the
having a very
migraine.
mild winter.
You're having a mild winter. Well, I wish I could say we're having a mild summer, but we're not.
I mean, Kitty, we're not going to do this now, you little weirdo.
You
Even
talk.
last week, it was like minus 21 with the wind chill. You saw.
I know. You called that
It was,
mild?
well, that was cold. But the last couple of days been 40, 45, 50.
Oh, that's mild for winter for you.
How are you, Dia? I'm going to repost the schedule for the channel because I think the channel schedule is taking off tonight and we're going to stay on tune. God willing. Hey, at least I've got my driver's license and my car registered.
Yeah, you're legal. Woohoo! Yeah, because I didn't have the money. Come bail you out, sweetheart.
Well, when I got pulled over by the police, I was actually talking to Chisme on camera. So Chisme was there during the whole show, and then the cop is like, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "My friend in Texas. You got a problem with it?" "What's in the
That,
pill bottle? Change. It's my mother's metformin. Do you want to check it out?" It was crazy.
yeah.
So tomorrow, I'm going to go drive donuts in the parking lot of that storage container company until the cop comes back. Oh, I'm going to. I'll call you guys on video. I might even do a fun little live on the side and just do donuts till the cop comes.
Oh, then you will be ringing me, Kaz. I'm in jail for reckless driving.
Ugh. All right,
Ring
so
pop pop.
we have a very disturbing new update on Nicola.
Yeah. This has really irked me that this information has been put out now, and that when Mark gives you the information on it, yeah, she will get in trouble, dear. She will. She pushes the envelope to tipping point. she backchats police officers.
Well, hang on. Yeah, let me share my screen real quick. This is insane, guys. Here we go. Go ahead, Kaz.
She was backchatting a police officer. Thank goodness he was in a good mood and he was laughing, but he could have turned the other way.
I won't get in trouble, Dio. Everyone does donuts when stuff freezes over. I'm gonna go do donuts until that cop pulls me over.
Oh
Nicola
my
Bulley.
god!
So today's Wednesday. You're Thursday. It's going into Thursday. It's
Hmm.
Thursday in England.
Yeah.
1 day short of this mother being missing for 3 weeks.
Hmm.
Nicola Bulley, missing mother of two, had significant issues with alcohol and menopause struggles, and now she is a critical missing person.
I mean, that headline, as I said to you on the phone before, putting putting that out to the general public has serious repercussions on the family because it affects her children.
Mm.
And the reason it affects the children is the children will hear the parents talking, and parents can be very cruel. I know she's still
Yeah, we're
missing,
going to watch the press conference that,
but they start
but
putting
I mean, it went from 2 weeks that Sally, go ahead, we got a delay.
it will start, the kids will
Talk, woman.
start. Oh, I'm talking, woman. Be quiet. Put the tape over your mouth, please. Kids, it'll start off, the kids will start being ridiculed at school. I know it shouldn't happen, but it will happen. You know, how could she, if she's having alcohol problems, why was she driving her children to school? If she's been drinking the night before, the alcohol content will still be in the system. How dare she put her
Oh,
children
God,
at
it's like a
risk?
Chrissy Powell story.
You don't know
So
how
three
frequently
weeks,
she was drinking.
no, we don't. 3 weeks before she went missing, police went to her house because of an alcohol situation, but nobody was arrested. That's what the police are claiming.
But that is a wide open statement. That statement is wide open, and you can read in a lot of that, a lot into that, I should say. Like, was her and Paul having an argument and she was shouting and throwing things? Or was she just having a bit of a chucking, what we call in England, a tanty? And, the next door neighbours heard something? Or was she threatening to get in the car under the influence of alcohol? You don't know why and who called the police? Was it Paul? Was it a neighbour? You don't know. Then there's too much you can read into that statement. Journalistic privilege can be taken too far sometimes. Too far.
I don't even know why they brought it up. And why are we talking about the woman's menopause in public? Like, what is that?
Okay, again, I'll say what I said to you personally. If they had this information from the get go, which according to the police they did, they should have put out a notification that she was an at risk an adult and said that we need to find her and done the investigation like that from the beginning, but not under any circumstances should they have put out there that she has alcohol issues. Because I think, in my opinion, and this is on my opinion, people may disagree with me, but bringing up the fact that she has alleged alcohol issues is wrong. It is really wrong. Because if she comes back to her family, the repercussions of that information being put out there in the worldwide is going to be harmful to her mental health. It
Yeah,
was
that was
shared to
absolutely
Facebook as
horrible.
well. Excuse me. Well, that's horrendous. Should never have gone out there. That is personal information that should have been kept to the family, and the police should have kept that, if it kept that under their belt, and just put that she's a vulnerable adult. That's all they needed to say.
Yeah, I just don't feel that they should have put that out now. And then
No,
they said that, well, we're going to see what the press conference says. We're going to watch it. But then I thought, the Fitbit. Remember, I'm like, what's going on
yes.
with the Fitbit? Well,
Hmm.
they said that despite many technicians investigating the Fitbit, no further information can be gained from that as it hadn't been synced for a number of days. They
Okay.
talk about the phone.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The phone being on the bench to me, it screams that somebody put that phone back.
Yeah.
The mansion across the river, the red van that nobody has seen from Hall Road, the bridge,
Uh-huh.
the suspicious fishermen that were at the
Mm-hmm.
cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And then they found a stained glove from a field close to where Bulley was last seen. The glove was found by two walkers some 7 miles away from a bench where Nicola's phone was found. They talk about the caravan site, but here's it, the car keys. Where are her car keys? I guess Paul got a hold of Mercedes to see if they could actually track the key fob, but that's all. The keys were not in the car. Paul has urged Mercedes to track the car keys.
Yeah.
And to go out there with metal detectors and stuff and see if you can find her car keys.
Unfortunately, with the Fitbit, unless you have the program running in the background on your phone, it won't sync and give you the information. Had she had the app running in the background, it continuously syncs. So it updates on the Fitbit, because I have a Fitbit. It continuously keeps the data on the Fitbit. But unless you've got the app running in the background, it doesn't sync, which is a shame.
But I just, like, why do we all have to know that she has? We should have known that on the first couple of days that she might have been suffering from alcoholism.
I don't think the alcoholism needed to come up. I just think
no, you're right. But if it was going to come out, it should have came out in the beginning, not 3 weeks later.
No, it should have come out on day one that
Hey,
she
Lanky.
was. Hey, Lanky, too. How are you, sweetheart? I think
Lanky hangs out in the other streets, Kaz. I see Lanky all the time.
Oh, Lanky, I give kudos to you, sweetheart. I don't know. My mental health wouldn't be able to cope with in the other community, the drama community, I tell you. Yeah, with the fact that she is a vulnerable adult, that should have come out day one.
Absolutely.
The fact, if she does have problems with alcohol and she is going through menopause and she is struggling with that's her private business. That did not need to come out at all. Zero. Zip. Nada.
Before we get into that video, let me go to the maps real quick and show you guys something.
Hey, Priscilla, how are you, sweetheart?
All right. So here's the deal. Okay, this is the upper field. This is the lower field. Right here is where the bench is. Somewhere, like I think it's right there. It's right here somewhere. Here's the house that they're considering the derelict house because it's empty, but the owner was there the day that she went missing.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets interesting. So this road right here is Hall Lane.
Yes.
this is where, can I get that? Yeah, okay. This is the road where the lady was going to the cake store and she claimed that she saw the red Renault on the abandoned garage or barn.
Yes.
This is the cemetery where the kids go to, this is the church, the primary school, the cemetery, and all of that. This is where the two fishermen were seen the day before she went missing. And then the one guy was seen the day she went missing with the fishing poles. This is the bridge, the pathway where she's going over the bridge where her picture is hung up. Here is the blind spot. So she comes over the bridge. She parks her car at the school and she walks right through here. That's the towpath. Yeah. That's the blind spot.
Yeah.
Where there's
hey,
CCTV. Now, the road that we were just on, I think it's Blackpool, turns into Garstang. Blackpool.
Yeah.
So see, if you follow Blackpool around the bend, it turns into Garstang.
Yeah.
It might even be up here. Nope, that's Rawcliffe. I'm pretty sure this is Garstang. And then the caravan park, which is right here.
Yeah.
So it's basically right behind the lower field, the caravan park.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the caravan park. Where they said they spent 50 minutes and everybody was compliant. So I don't know what is going on. Oh, there's Garstang. You see how Blackpool turns into Garstang?
Yeah.
And then this is Alliment Road that they're talking about, where the CCTV camera was supposed to be blacked out around right here on Alliment Drive.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is. And you can even see when the police are walking, that's that little shed. So here, this is the towpath. She comes up the towpath. This is what her schedule showed on that walking path. She walks in. She parks here. She walks over the bridge. She comes in right here. She goes through the towpath. She walks around the upper field, the lower field, comes back down and leaves, walks over the bridge and comes into her car over here at the school.
Yeah.
That's the Hall Lane where they saw the red Renault.
Yeah. She keeps the same route all the time, pretty much.
All the time. Hey, sweet Caroline. Hey, Priscilla. Lanky's in the house again. Hey, Raybird. So what bothers me is that you claim, how did the police see her coming into the park if she comes in on a blind path? How are they sitting there for 2.5 weeks telling us that we know for a fact she didn't leave through the way she came in? They've been telling us lies from day one, and now she's an alcoholic with menopause. I can't.
I know. I agree.
And people are getting on my butt. Leave Paul alone. I've never once said that Paul did anything, ever. What I say is he rubs me the wrong way, and he still rubs me the wrong way. There's something about him that to me is just off. Let's get into this press conference. They've made a mockery out of this. They botched this case, Kaz, from day one. They should have taped it off. Hey, Lana. They should have taped off the scene.
Hi, Lana.
How do you not tape off the scene?
I know. That's ludicrous. I said that to you before. That is, policing 101. You tape off the area where that person...
No shit. Hey guys, we're gonna call our little community over here, the zoo. So I need you all to pick your spirit animal.
Hi, my elderly cats. How did you go with the earthquake over there? Are you okay?
She says, meows, I have power.
Yay. Yeah, because they had a cyclone and then they get hit with an earthquake.
Damn. I'm glad you're okay, my elderly cats. Okay, so this is from today. Let me get past this ad.
Notice Sally wasn't on it.
I was just gonna say, do you think I think Sally was fired. Let me come back to that. I think Sally was fired. She was not in this press conference. I think Sally botched it from day one. It should have been taped off. There should have been, I mean, considering how okay, she goes missing. The phone is found. The friends tell the school. The school calls Paul. He is there. They should have been watching traffic coming in and out, like, especially if she's a raging alcoholic that she's critical now. Where was that 2 weeks ago? Excuse me, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Sally, that girl. I think Sally got fired.
My name is Peter Lawson, and I'm an Assistant Chief Constable here with Lancashire Constabulary.
Can you fix the
I'm
screen,
joined
please?
to my left by Detective Superintendent Becky Smith.
It's there,
Becky's
Ed.
the Senior Investigating Officer, SIO, in the investigation to find Nicola Bulley.
Trippy.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I want to thank you for making the effort to come here.
Oh, Priscilla, do you girls think it's a cover-up? I don't think the police are covering up. I think the police did a really shitty job. They lost a lot of evidence, like, I mean, anything from the phone, anything. Like, the phone was handled. The bench should have been taken out of there, as far as I'm concerned, or definitely taped off.
Yeah.
I just think that they I think they completely botched it. Yeah. She was insisting that she fell in a river 2 weeks later. She is not in a river. Mr. Falding is telling you she's not in there. He was also telling you of compiling areas of where people could hide a body, and nobody is going out on a foot search off the path but 10 feet. 2 martinis.
Yeah, Priscilla, it is a small, well, it's not even a town. It's a village.
It's a village. A very small village. I could live there, definitely.
Mm.
But they just go ahead.
I was just going to say, you might have to see if you can re-pull up that video. That's weird. Looking at it like that.
No, it's on their end. See?
Oh
no, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. I can't do anything about it. I'll try to reload it. But I think it's on their end. I don't know.
If your business kept on employees,
we're just going to have to listen to it.
I mean, they should have, because if there was any footprints.
Look.
Yeah, it's very stretched out, Priscilla. It is. If there was any footprints.
So why is it doing that, though?
I've never seen that happen before. Yeah, it does look like.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay, we're good. I had to up my my quality. Okay. All right, so let's get into this, guys. I'm not going to go fast because of the accents. I want to hear what they're saying, but let's listen to this cover-up. I believe it's going to be a cover-up. It has to be. Now I mean, I get, you could have said anything. Why did you have to put it out there that she might be an alcoholic? What, does that give it some reason that she's missing for 3 weeks and you guys botched because You're going to blame it on alcoholism? Oh, no.
Oh, well,
I think Sally.
They're doing it as though Gone Girl. She's got menopausal issues. She's got, alcohol, so she could have just got in another person's car and taken off. But, just before you play it, she wouldn't have gone for a walk with Willow. She loves that dog to bits. If she was going to do that, she would have left Willow at home. She would have driven her car back to her house and got somebody to pick her up and taken off.
I agree.
She loves those two girls to bits.
But see, here's what I think. I believe she went to that park that morning. But I also believe that I just feel like the phone and the dog were brought back. And I don't think it was by somebody who didn't know her. I don't know. Maybe she's with Melissa and Anna Walsh. We have to stay positive. All right, let's get into this.
All right.
Here. Good. Okay.
I'm going to grab a drink. Be right back.
Very good morning, and thank you for your flexibility with a slight change in timing for this press conference. My name is Peter Lawson, and I'm an Assistant Chief Constable here with Lancashire Constabulary. I'm joined to my left by Detective Superintendent Becky Smith.
He's one of the big knobs.
Becky is the Senior Investigating Officer, SIO, in the investigation to find Nicola Bulley. I want to thank you for making the effort to come here this morning so that we could give you an update on our investigation to find Nicola. She and her family remain foremost in our thoughts and our priorities in the investigation. Some of what Becky and I will say today has already been made public and has been widely reported, but I'm acutely aware that there continues to be extensive media interest, commentary, speculation, and indeed some criticism of our police investigation.
You think?
Therefore, to try and address some of that, we will take you through in some detail, more than would normally be the case with an investigation, what exactly we've done over the last 19 days and continue.
I had to run back and stop it after that comment. On your shitty investigation, absolutely, mister. I hope you admit to how shitty it's been.
No, he won't.
Wow, that's a way to come out of the gate.
To remind us, Nicola went missing on the morning of Friday, the 27th of January. And since that time, we have done an unprecedented amount of work on the investigation to try and find her. The sole focus of that work is to find Nicola, to bring her home to her family and give them the answers they so desperately need. The investigation has involved a dedicated team of more than 40 detectives. They've been looking through hundreds of hours of CCTV, dashcam footage, speaking to numerous witnesses, carrying out digital inquiries, and examining literally hundreds of pieces of information submitted by the public.
No.
And I would like to thank the public for all of their assistance throughout this investigation.
Let me know.
There are also dozens of officers and staff who have helped in the investigation.
Yeah, it's too fast for me. I can't understand it. I smell too much
Niece,
pot.
what
Okay, go ahead.
high risk means?
Hey, niece.
What high risk means is that she has vulnerabilities, and that means that it could be medical. What they're saying is that she is very menopausal, and they're alleging that she has alcohol issues.
Yeah,
Hence-
3 weeks later, niece. Which she probably does, but the fact that they're putting it out 3 weeks later, they're claiming that the police were at Paul and Nicola's house 3 weeks before she went missing for probably a domestic dispute with alcohol involved, and nobody was arrested. So they decided to come out and tell us that she's going through menopause and that she is an alcoholic, so now she is high risk. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah. Bullocks.
Absolutely.
My elderly cat says bullocks. I haven't heard that for a while.
They should be ashamed of themselves. And from the day regardless if you think she's missing, if you think she drove away, she took off, she ran off with a boyfriend, regardless, she's a mother of two. She's missing. Her dog is at a park. Her phone's out, sitting on a bench, but you don't tape off anything. And for 2 weeks, you're convinced that she is on a river, that an expert for over 30 years with the sonar, and I think he's got equipment like AWP, says she's not in the effing water. She's not here. Oh, she must be in the Irish Sea. She floated to the Irish Sea in 13 feet of water down the Wyre in 2 weeks, and nobody saw her floating. Get the entire F out of here. You completely botched it.
There's no skid marks or slip marks of where from where the bench is, and where the bench is, it's only maximum, say, 3 foot deep. So if
13 feet deep is the maximum depth of that Wyre River.
I know that. I'm saying where she was, where the bench is.
It's 3 feet, and and when you walk in the water, it just goes over your foot.
Yeah.
Then into 3 feet of water. Yeah.
So if she slipped in.
Hey, Patty.
Hey, Patty. So
Niece, I guess so. I guess we're all. I mean, I might have like 2 or 3, 4 drinks a year, and Kaz will tell you she's seen me on a hangover morning having to pull over and open the car door because I'm not a drinker. But I guess, I mean, what bothers me is that it's a small village. She's all over the media. We're looking for a mother of two. But now it's like, why are you putting it in there that she is an alcoholic through menopause? It's just degrading to me.
It is extremely degrading. Extremely degrading. They shouldn't have done it. Should not have done it. It makes it adds nothing to the investigation. Nothing.
All right, let's go, Kaz. We're 2 minutes in, and 36 minutes. You and I could probably extend this 36 minutes till the break of day.
All right. So, well, I'm going to mute down. I'm going to walk around because my legs.
Yeah, go stretch your legs. Okay.
And reassurance for the local community in St Michael's. We've involved a range of specialists.
Exactly,
both
niece.
Locally, regionally, and nationally. The investigation has not wanted at any stage for experts who are the best in their field available to law enforcement in the UK. I would emphasise that it remains the case. There is no evidence to indicate a criminal aspect or third-party involvement in Nicola's disappearance.
God.
However, the officers involved in the investigation are the same experienced specialists and many senior officers who are concerned with the investigation of the most serious and complex crimes. That is the importance and focus we have given to the investigation to find Nicola.
Oh my gosh.
To give you some figures to back up some of what I've described, we visited more than 300 premises, spoken to almost 300 people, and received around about 1,500 pieces of information into the inquiry. In terms of the physical searches, both water-based and on land,
Agree, Raybird.
We've used specialist resources from both police, a range of other agencies, and I'm grateful to those other agencies who've supported us. And in police assets, that's included the Northwest Underwater Search Unit,
yes,
police drones, horses, dogs, and the police helicopter. We continue to search extensively the River Wyre and surrounding area downstream and out into the sea towards the estuary. We've consulted with national experts in their field, including environmental and tidal experts. And we're carrying out have carried out an extensive land search surrounding the river, including some properties around the area where Nicola went missing. Slides have been made available for you to see, which show in some detail exactly where we have searched, but it's important to say that our activity has at every stage been directed by expert trained police search advisors who we term pulsers, and they've been following nationally.
You know what else about Paul? I listen, guys, am I saying Paul did it? No. Do I think Paul has got some weird mannerisms that I spoke about in my videos? Absolutely. But that's my opinion. but anyone could have taken her. I mean, it's completely open in my mind. I can't figure it out. But how come they don't come to the press conferences? Like, why is he never at a press conference? I mean, I don't know. He could be out there looking. We don't know. That's why I wanted Matt to go to the area and see if Paul was actually out there with his own metal detector trying to find the car keys. I don't know. One of Nicola's friends said on a Facebook page, because I've been in their Facebook pages like knee deep, said the only reason that she thinks, I guess she doesn't care for Paul too much, is the fact that Paul has cameras at his house to show that he never left. Well, we all know that there's got to be a manipulation if you have cameras that he could have left. It's not a crazy possibility, but I don't know what happened to her. I'm just as confused. But he does rub me the wrong way. I will say that. And that pisses Kaz off.
Recognised doctrine around search strategy, which will be followed by any expert police search advisor in UK policing. The lead police search advisor is here.
Ooh. And
at the conclusion of the press conference, if you have any specific questions on a one-to-one basis with that officer, he will be able to assist with those. So it remains the case at the present time that there is no evidence in all the exhaustive inquiries we've made that suggests any crime has been committed.
Oh my gosh.
Or that there is any third-party involvement in Nicola's disappearance. It is important for me to stress that the investigation continues. It is ongoing, and we are meticulously reviewing all information gathered from members of Nicola's family, the public, CCTV, dashcam, and other digital devices, to name just a few. We're also continuing to regularly consult with national experts from the National Crime Agency, the NCA, and they continue to support us and provide both tactical and strategic advice for the case. I will now hand over to Becky, who will talk through in some more detail the investigation she's been leading from that senior investigating officer role. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming this morning. So I'm going to firstly take you through the incidents that led up to Nicola being reported missing. I'll go through a timeline of events for you, followed by a number of topic areas that I believe are of interest to you. Also going on to a couple of areas that have been highlighted in the press, which I want to explain in detail. So first of all, Nicola Bulley was reported missing on Friday the 27th of January after dropping her children at St Michael's School in St Michael's. As soon as she was reported missing, following the information that was provided to the police by her partner Paul, and based on a number of specific vulnerabilities that we were made aware of, Nicola was graded as high risk.
Wow.
That is normal in a missing person.
Did you hear that, Kaz? So they knew from the beginning that this was going on and she was high risk, but we're just now hearing about it 3 weeks later. Make that make sense. And Paul was the one she just told us. Paul told her.
Person from investigation with the information we were in possession of. She was immediately treated as a MISPA. And then on the Monday, the 30th of January, I was identified as the senior investigating officer. At that time, we reviewed all the information that had been gathered in the days prior to her being reported. And as any senior investigating officer does, you form a number of hypotheses. That is scenarios which are possible from the information to hand.
Exactly.
Those hypotheses included the one that she
Debbie Collier. I still think that I don't even understand that one. But this right here, I am so confused by this. So you wasted 2 weeks searching. I don't know what they did. I don't know what's going on with this case. I'm completely baffled.
Possibly could have gone into the river,
Oh, gosh.
That there could have been third-party involvement.
Oh,
And lastly, that she could have left the area voluntarily.
hey, lily pad.
Those hypotheses have remained in place throughout, are reviewed regularly, as is normal with any SIO running a major investigation. At the initial stages, based on the information I received, I made it clear that it was my working hypothesis.
We're only 8 minutes in, lily pad, and they haven't mentioned cadaver dogs. They mentioned drones, horses, off the track. I mean, did they mention dogs, but I don't think they mentioned cadaver dogs.
At that time, based with all the facts, that the main hypothesis I was working on at that time was that Nicola had gone in the river. This has been misconstrued in the press and said that that was what I said.
Oh,
I said that was
that.
my main working hypothesis at that time.
Oh, please.
And that remains my main working hypothesis. I think it's clear to see that the amount of effort, hours worked, resources that we have put into this investigation, that we have always been open-minded. Those 3 hypotheses and scenarios have been continually reviewed and continue to do so to this day. But as Mr. Dawson has said, at the minute, with the information that we have received and reviewed, there is not a single piece of information or evidence to suggest that there is any third-party involvement in this investigation. And that continues and will continue to do so until we have reviewed all the information received. So in terms of the actual timeline, Nicola Bulley dropped her children off at school at about 8:40 on Friday the 27th of January. That was not.
Okay, guys, I know we've heard it 1,000 times. Hey, Elisa, but pay close attention to this timeline in the actual times of the phone being on the bench until when Paul shows up. Not that I'm saying Paul did anything, but I'm saying we are talking about a matter of 10, 15, 20 minutes to where she completely just vanished into thin air. That's why I believe that she was somebody that knew her, had to have been, or she would have been screaming. It's 9:30 in the morning. There are other people walking the dogs. You are right underneath a caravan park on the lower field. It's like your neighbor. I mean, you've got a primary school across the bridge, a path with cars driving around. You got kids with fishing poles in the cemetery. I mean, this is absolutely absurd to me. It's so boggling.
Normal. And she then proceeded, after chatting to a couple of people in the school yard, walked up Garstang Road and onto the river path over an iron bridge that takes you down to these fields. We know that because there are witnesses who have identified her, and also from her phone data. We know that Nicola entered the field and made a couple of messages on her mobile phone, one to her boss and one to a friend, making arrangements for a play date for her children. And at 9:01, we know she logged into a work call on Teams. Again, there has been lots of speculation about.
Yes, that just came out yesterday, that she text messaged a friend 30 minutes before the meeting started. She texted a friend to set up a play date. Get it right, lady. She didn't call her, she texted her.
About this was a perfectly normal call for Nicola to have. It was work related. She would never have had the microphone or camera on because it was more of an informative session.
Okay,
she didn't need to sign into it. She did so to enable her with her business. So I know there have been inquiries as to whether anybody else on the Teams call would have been able to hear or provide us with any information. I can assure you from the outset that was investigated thoroughly, and that is not the case. We know at this time that there were a number of dog walkers in the area, and we've been extremely fortunate from the very start of this inquiry to have a number of witnesses, key witnesses, who know Nicola. So there is no miscommunication about the identification of who is in that field.
You know what? That says it all, right? I mean, how much more? There was a lot of dog walkers. So if somebody grabbed her out of this park, or when she was walking back to her car over the bridge with all the passing by cars, the kids in the school starting, that's why I feel that somebody that she went to see, and I don't believe she left her phone on the bench. I believe that somebody put that phone back on the bench. Yeah, this is today, Lilac. This is them explaining now that Nicola is an alcoholic that has menopause. It's crazy. But think about that. If a stranger grabbed her, okay, first of all, let's think about the phone being on the bench. So if you're walking around on a meeting and your phone is muted like normal and the camera's off, which I get, why are you walking around with your phone on the bench? Like we don't let go of our phones, even if we have earpieces in. We don't let go of the phone because we're probably doing more shit in the phone while we're on the meeting. I know I am.
Yeah.
But then you've got a lot of people in the park. Welcome back, Rue. You got a lot of people in the park. You've got people that see her. Not only that see her, but know her phone from a screensaver and go to the primary school because they know they found Nicola's phone. We're talking about a small village where she has done this trip 1,000+ times. It's the same walk. It's the same time. Nothing changes. Nothing. So what she's saying right now, these people need to be ashamed of themselves. God, if I was Matt, I would be protesting against their bullshit. I think we have to get heels on the ground out there.
And also, we've viewed a substantial amount of CCTV. Again, whilst we can't cover the whole area with CCTV, we've been really fortunate in that we've had a lot, which has really been able to help us in pin down both Nicola's movements and also the movements of key witnesses, which is why we were able to give a timeline of events quite quickly, but reiterating that we were remaining open-minded to all three of those scenarios. So Nicola was last seen in the field, which we've called the upper field, at about 9:10 that morning. At that time, everything seemed normal. She was walking her dog Willow, who was off the lead. And again, a number of issues and inconsistencies have been raised in relation to Willow and her harness. It was really normal for Willow not to have her harness on. They never kept the harness on when they were in that field. The harness would be taken off Willow when they entered the field and would only be put back on when they were ready to leave the field. So at approximately 9:10, a witness that knows her had the last sighting, and that was at the upper field. And when I say an approximate time, it is that, but we are basing that on obviously the times that we can say that witness left the field. So I'm quite confident.
Why is she contradicting herself? Either you've got the timeline as fast as you got it because of the CCT proving who was in the field, but now they're all over the place with this. It's like a fish out of water. What do you think, Rue? Like, what the hell?
Well, she's saying as well as they can say, because they can. There's no. We both know there is no CCTV on the upper field. They can only go by what the witness said that they saw her. So that witness probably said, "Well, at approximately 9:10 a.m., I saw Nicola." Whereas if it was seen on CCTV, it would have a timestamp. So they could categorically say at 9:10 and 52 seconds, Nicola was seen on XYZ. So they have to say it approximately.
Let me show you guys this real fast.
Yeah, excuse me. I've never heard of menopause causing disappearance. However, I have heard of menopause causing severe depression. I have heard of menopause causing other things, but you know.
Here's the upper field, guys. Right here. This is where she was last seen. Here's the caravan park. The camera is supposedly right here in the caravan park, but it's supposed to be broken.
Correct.
The lower field. the towpath. She was seen walking along the river path here. This is the bench, the abandoned house where the owner was, and then the towpath out and coming over the bridge and back at the school.
And now, everybody remember, there is no CTV coverage of her walking onto the towpath because it doesn't have any CCTV
Exactly.
at all. So they can't say they saw her walk in. They can't say they saw her walk out with anybody because there's no CTV covering that.
That's
towpath.
why they lied. They lied from day one. They said that they saw her coming in on the towpath, and they know for a fact that she didn't leave the park because they didn't see her coming out, but they saw her coming in. Absolutely
Patty.
bullshit.
Oh, Patty, you break me up, woman. You see what Patty wrote?
Yeah. Somebody made her disappear. I mean, I don't think you're going to drop off your kids and text your friend for a play date and all of this just to, I mean, what do? I'm going to jump in the Wyre River at 13 feet and see if I can't drown myself and float down the river. You got a better chance of jumping on a rubber raft floating down that river. Like, what?
Yeah.
Paul's looking more and more suspect to me. I don't see a stranger taking her in that park without her screaming or them seeing something. It's too much for me.
You can have early onset, Chisme. You can.
All right, let's continue. You ready?
Go for it.
Confident it is around that time. We then know from digital data that at some time around 9:20, we believe that Nicola's handset had moved towards the bench area. Again, there have been questions raised about her phone, whether that would have been in her possession when whatever happened has happened. But again, I'd just like to point her out that it's really normal for Nicola, when in a Teams call, to be holding her phone out in front of her, listening to it. And we can say from a witness that knows her that morning, that is what she was doing.
See?
So that would explain why she doesn't have her phone in her pocket, as I know a number of people have raised.
I agree with her there.
We then know at about 9:33, a local dog walker who is walking a dog comes across the bench and finds Willow untied, running between.
Oh my God. Niece said menopause made me lay down under a waterfall at a miniature golf course in Myrtle Beach because I was sweating to death. Oh, I would have done that too, niece. I could see me doing something like that.
Yeah, me too.
Karma's a bitch, though. This girl was on YouTube and they showed a clip of her walking her dog and falling in the snow about a week and a half ago. And I was laughing my ass off. And that day I walked out of my house and I wiped out in the snow. And I'm like, damn, Karma was fast on that one.
Yeah.
Shit. That was funny that made me just completely bust out. Okay.
Between the bench and the gate. The mobile phone is on the bench, face upwards, still logged into the Teams call, and Willow's harness is halfway between the bench and the riverside. That witness makes a number.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So you got the bench, the phone on the bench. Maybe the person that put the phone back or whatever didn't realize that it was connected to a conference call. And then you've got the harness in between the bench and the Wyre River. That's interesting. It seems like it was all set up, right? Like a decoy. This, at 9:15 in the morning, this reminds me of the Delphi. Like in the middle of the day, something like this just happened, but she has not been found yet. But it had to have been somebody that knew her. I'm saying.
That's what I was going to say, because it's such a small village and everybody knows everybody. And for a person who is not up from that village, if they saw somebody walking with Nicola who they didn't know, it would have come out already. Because, they would have said, oh, we saw this strange man, who was kind of forcibly walking Nicola away from the towpath.
I agree. Not one
Red
person.
Renault.
There's not one person that we have heard of that they have said they saw her talking to Nicola, except for the man with the fluffy dog. He came forward. The girl that said that she was joking around when they crossed on the paths and the dogs kind of interacted. And then you've got the lady in the red coat that actually came back. And nobody said, oh, yeah, I saw her, but I saw her walking with a strange guy, or a strange guy was lurking. The only people they mention are the day before, the guy was going to work at 7:45, and he saw two men in the cemetery with fishing poles trying to cover their face. Well, why are you in an effing cemetery with fishing poles if you don't want to be detected of doing something? Then the following day, the day she went missing, the 17th, the man recalls seeing one of the guys with a fishing pole near the cemetery. That's it. And the red Renault where the lady saw it on Hall Lane going to the cake store. That's the only suspicious anything with all of these leads in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Bullshit. The person knew her.
Before returning home, she then returns and makes a number of phone calls to people, because at that point she doesn't know who the dog belongs to or who the phone belongs to, and doesn't know how to get in touch with people. She makes a number of inquiries with a local vet who can't assist her, and following a number of inquiries, eventually people return to the bench, recover the handset and Willow, and we find out that obviously they belong to Nicola.
Well, hang on.
The alarm is then raised with the local school.
That's not how it went down at all. She completely effed that up.
Unless what was put out there before is different to what actually happened. It could be one or two scenarios.
Well, what the supposed original story that came out of Sally's mouth was the phone was found on the bench in Willow by a passerby. Another passerby noticed the screensaver on the phone and noticed it was Nicola's phone. They went to the primary school and told the primary school that her phone was found. Then the primary school called Paul, and he was there in a couple minutes. That was out of Sally's mouth.
Yeah, I agree, darling.
Weird. Her eyes look like little glazed donuts, right?
Yeah, they do.
Like she looks like a Krispy Kreme glazed over donut. Yeah, it's a different story from the beginning. Now it's just kind of like they're trying to make it like they didn't really know whose phone it was when, they focused on for 2 weeks. Paul Falding is like, listen, she's not in here. And he stopped searching there, and they were still trying to insist that Sally telling us that she fell in the river. Yeah, she looks like a Krispy Kreme donut.
Who then in turn contact Paul, Nicola's partner, who then makes to the scene. Just moving on to CCTV. Like I've said, we are really fortunate in this inquiry that we've been able to narrow down a lot of the witnesses in the area's movements, and to some extent Nicola's. But we can't complete that totally.
Some extent.
The area at the top of the field, Rowan Water, has CCTV that covers the gate that enters the field and the front of the site. That is working. The site managers have been cooperating with us.
Kaz, please say it for me. Please say what I'm thinking. Please. Please.
Well, hang on. They said it wasn't working. It's broken.
Why are they up? Not the one on Rosewater? I'll show you that on the picture real quick. Oh, actually, yes, that is Rowan Water, the caravan park. But she didn't come in that way. Why are they so focused?
Tow Bridge.
Exactly. So why are we so focused on an area that she did not come in? You might have seen her in the upper field from that camera if it was working, but you're not going to see her come in because she didn't come in that way. The CCTV footage, Lila, at the caravan park.
Yeah,
I'll
on
show
the
you
upper
again real
field.
quick.
Yeah, pull up the map again, darling.
Where'd it go?
It's in
It
there
disappeared.
somewhere.
There it is. Okay. So they're talking about, so this is Rowan Water. This is the caravan park. The camera sits right here.
Yeah.
CCTV believed to be broken. Maybe it wasn't. She was standing on this field. Somebody caught her on CCTV footage here. But she came in over here. She parks her car here. Here's the school. Here's the church. Here's the cemetery. She parks her car here. Right here. She goes over the bridge. Onto the towpath. She walks this way. She comes back around. And she leaves. Over 1,000 times she's done this. This is where they last see her. This is the bench. That's the abandoned house. This is the caravan park.
Yeah. I wish they'd get the blinking information correct.
And another thing, they keep asking for CCTV footage off of that the Gangster Road, but not Blackpool. And that is, but it does turn into the roads together. Exactly. That's why, Dia, I am almost convinced that that phone was brought back to the scene. Oh, what am I doing? Let's share the video. Because it's like laying so perfect. Even it's facing up. It's connected to a meeting. Now, if you were going to be in a struggle, I don't think your phone would be found face up on a bench because you're probably holding it during your call. The one thing the cop said right.
Well, if she's not got any AirPods in, if it's an iPhone, or if it's an Android, if she hasn't got any, earbuds in or a jack in listening to it, of course she's going to be holding it.
Exactly. But but if you're in a meeting and you're just listening and your mic is muted and your camera's off, she's would probably be doing other things on the phone. But even if she was taken, or if she was, it wouldn't. Why is it so perfect on the bench? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Nicia, if only Willow could talk.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't know. Paul just, I never once heard him say, if anyone has her, or if you're listening to this, maybe that's just who he is, but he definitely comes off to me as somebody who thinks that and knows that he's definitely a good looking guy, with no doubt.
I'm so supportive of this investigation at every stage. And we can say that Nicola has not entered that area or left. We can also say that nobody that we haven't traced and spoken to and discounted has left or entered Rowan Water. The second point on CCTV is allotment lane. Again, we've been really, really fortunate, despite it being such a rural area, that we've got numerous sites of CCTV on that road. And that is why we can be confident that Nicola has not gone down that road. Unfortunately, the main entrance to the fields is via the river path, as we refer to it. And that river path goes back to Garstang Road. You can fork off slightly, which takes you at the back of the Grapes pub, which would bring you back onto the main road. But again, that is covered by CCTV.
Even though it's Blackpool, the locals actually call it Garstang, even because that's the main road. It goes from Blackpool into Garstang.
Yeah, I get that. Look this is Blackpool, and I told you on this bend, it turns into Garstang up here. I get that. but right here is Blackpool.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, darling. I know, but I'm just saying that's what the locals call it. That's why she
Okay.
keeps calling it Garstang. Paul, they don't go to university to become a police officer. Go on,
Yeah,
darling.
because Garstang is in the back. It runs behind the caravan park, and you can turn
Yes,
off
it does.
onto Ultimate and the Rosenwater to get into the park from there. Okay.
TV, and we know she hasn't left by that entrance. So talking about the river path, this has always been, and we've made this really clear in previous briefings and bulletins, that this has been our focus. And to do this, because of the lack of CCTV on the main road, we've had to appeal numerous times for motorists and cyclists in the area to send us through any potential clips of dash cam. And our intention is to review every one of those, however small they might be, to make sure that on none of those, Nicola is seen. At this stage, none of that dash cam has indicated that Nicola is there. However, I'd just like to point out, we are still reviewing those pieces of information. What I can say, which we have established only yesterday, was that if Nicola had left out of the river path and turned right, she has not reached the Great Pub. And we can say that because we have CCTV covering both sides of that pavement. So moving on to Nicola's phone, I've talked to you about the discrepancies that have been flagged up with the Teams call, whether she would have had that in front of her, whether she would have had that in a pocket. And we can say with confidence that Nicola that morning, whilst logged into her Teams call, had the phone out in front of her, listening to that call. We have, of course, like you would in any major inquiry, done an exhaustive amount of work with that phone. We have digital media experts doing everything we can with that. And that has enabled us to help us with her movements in the field, corroborated by the witness accounts. Moving on to Fitbit, as I know this has been of interest. Unfortunately, despite many technicians and specialists looking at this, there is no further information that we can gain from that because it hadn't been synced for a number of days.
That's horrible.
Just in relation to digital inquiries, there is further work that we are doing on Nicola's social media accounts this morning. The family are totally aware of this, but this work that we're doing might show Nicola as being online. I want to make this really clear. We have control of this phone. This will be the police that is doing these inquiries, and that nobody needs to be concerned or to contact the incident room in relation to this.
Oh, wait a second. Wait. So what are they saying they're going to go on her social media and post things?
No, but say Messenger, for instance, if they go on to a Messenger account, it will come up as Nicola Bulley is on, it'll come up with the green light and it will show Nicola Bulley is online, even though you're not posting anything. It will show to all the friends the green light that Nicola Bulley's online. Same thing with Snapchat and a few other apps. Instagram's another one. So if
they have the phone, why don't they just do a dump of the phone into like what they do with?
You can get more out of it by going. I know you could do a dump of the phone, but it'd be quicker to actually do it via her phone because you can get more data out of it that way.
I mean, this is 3 weeks later. Why hasn't this already been done?
I don't know.
I mean, 3 weeks later, now we're going to start going online to her phone because maybe we think that she's sitting in the bushes drinking a bottle of vodka. Like, what?
I don't know. Have you seen what Paul's...
Moving back to my original explanation of the scenarios that were under consideration, I've expressed before the hypotheses have been continually reviewed based on the information that is known to the inquiry team and the inquiry team only. Whilst other people may speculate and spread rumours, evidence whatsoever or information, and there has been a vast amount reviewed, I can assure you, in the last almost 3 weeks to suggest any third-party involvement or Nicola leaving that field. However, this is an ongoing inquiry. We've got a large dedicated team, and as you
this is really pissing me off. I mean, listen, don't tell me she didn't leave that area, because she obviously she's no longer in that area. I'm so tired of hearing about the one camera at the caravan park. Let me show you guys something real quick. Oh, I've been watching this too. You're not the only one. There it is. Nicola Bulley. Oh, this is my mom's Facebook. Nicola. Here she is. Thinking new year, new home. Anyways, we'll get back to the video. But yeah, we'll see.
you can imagine, vast
Ooh,
amount of
I'm triggered.
information,
You want me to
some
pause?
relevant and some not, coming in on a daily basis. So my main working line of inquiry at the moment.
I'll be back in 5 minutes. If you want me to pause it, just tell me. I'm gonna have my earpiece, my headphones on, because this woman's triggering the F out of me. Okay. I think I'm starting to go through menopause too, so it's really not helping the freaking cause.
Is that Nicola, information known to me from the incident and of Nicola herself, and the information and vulnerabilities that have been given to us by her family, that is my main working hypothesis at this time. That does not mean that we aren't continuing to investigate every single line of inquiry, because I can assure you we are. And we, as much as everybody else in this country, wants to find out what's happened to Nicola, to be able to give her two children the answers they deserve. So in terms of persistent myths that keep being referred to in the press, the derelict house, which is across the other side of the river, that has been searched 3 times with the permission of the owner, and Nicola is not in there. The red van. We're really, really grateful to members of the public for ringing into the inquiry. We wouldn't have got this far without everybody's help. But I think it's also really obvious that we are being inundated with false information, accusations and rumours, which is distracting us from our work. The red van has been reported that it was in the area on the morning of the 27th, like many other hundreds of cars that morning. We're really grateful for the witness who has told us about that, and we are continuing to make inquiries to try and track down that specific van. But from my perspective, being in possession of all the facts and information of this case, I do not believe that to be suspicious, but we are continuing to investigate that. Identify whoever was in the area that time to make sure that they can't give us any further information that will assist the investigation. There's also been mention of a number of fishermen that have been seen that morning, who again were described as suspicious. I myself don't find it suspicious that fishermen would be in the area of a river that morning or carrying fishing rods. But there was some suggestion that one of these males might have been looking to cover his face. We have made numerous appeals for these fishermen to come forward. We have made contact with the local angling clubs, and we have also ascertained the time of the witness passing down that road and checked the CCTV at the Grapes pub, which covers that end of Garstang Road. And we can't see any of those fishermen at that time on that day. But we are continuing to try and trace these people. Again, I would urge that they are not necessarily suspicious to me, but I'm
Okay, wait a second. So if there's no fishermen, then who is the guy that's claiming he saw them that morning? I mean, what do you mean this is not weird? So this man leaves his house at 7:45 on the 16th, and he claimed, but he will not tell. He's unidentified. So he claims that he sees 2 men in the cemetery, and we know the cemetery is in front of the church. I just showed you guys on maps, and that's where the primary school is, St. Michael's. Trying to cover their face. Then he says that the next morning, the morning she went missing, he saw one guy with a fishing pole at the same time. But she's saying, but so you're telling me that primary school doesn't have CCTV footage?
Oh, I would pretty much say it would have.
Okay, let me show you guys real quick so you can get an understanding of where she's saying that the Great Bar. Just real quick so you guys can understand what camera she is saying is working. Okay, so when she comes out, so this is the school where the guys were supposedly seen. This is the Grapes Pub. So when she comes into the towpath, this is the camera that supposedly they're looking for suspects or suspicious activity on. How are you going to see the front of the church? No, you're not.
No, what she was saying, had she turned right from the towpath, she knows sorry, but get it right, Kaz. She said if Nicola had come out of the towpath and turned right, the Grapes Pub would have picked her up. So they categorically know, had she come out and walked right, they would have found her because that's covered by CCTV. So the only other way that she could have gone, had she come out the way she came in, was to turn left.
Absolutely.
And that would be going back to where she would normally go anyway, because that's where her car's parked.
Yep, right here at the school. Okay, let's just ooh.
I've got to walk around again. My legs playing up sweater.
Just all right, go walk. We got about 10 more minutes.
Really keen to trace them to make sure that there's no further information that they can give us. In terms of the glove that has been recovered, you'll no doubt be aware that TikTokers have been.
Yeah, Chisme. The cemetery is literally right in front of the church. The church is connected to the primary school. Yeah, the cemeteries there are not like in their own little area. They are literally in the front yard. It almost looks like when you put the fake cemeteries up for Halloween, like it's in front of the church. It is interesting.
Play in. They're in the belief by the caravan owners in this. The whole community wants to find Nicola and wants to give the family the answers that they deserve. Lastly, the family, and they are the most important part of this. And all this speculation and rumour is affecting them. They've got a loving daughter, sister, partner and mother who is missing, and that is my priority and the priority of the investigation team, and always has. And we can't be detracted from that.
Mm-hmm.
I have met the family on a number of occasions and will continue to do so. And they are kept regularly updated throughout with our progress. There are dedicated family liaison officers who speak daily to the family, and only yesterday spent a significant amount of time with Paul.
Okay.
I can assure you that this investigation has been thoroughly investigated, no differently than any other major investigation from the outset, and that my absolute priority is to do everything we can to provide the answers to Nicola's two daughters who need to know where their mummy is. And whilst we have shared information today about specific individual vulnerabilities specific to this case and Nicola, I would ask you to respect the family's privacy in respect of those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. As I mentioned, we've shared more detail in this conference than would normally be the case, but intended by doing so to the scale of the investigation and the resources and the intensity of it, and something around Nicola's vulnerabilities, that we're able to counter some of the,
oh gosh,
and it won't be clear, but ill-informed speculation and conjecture that has at times distracted the investigation from what ought to have been its priorities. It has been a distraction. That is potentially damaging to the investigation, the community of St Michael's, and most importantly, Nicola's family. However, we've had incredible support from the public and continue to have a dedicated investigation team working on this inquiry, and we will continue to be as transparent as we possibly can be. You must appreciate, though, that when we do come forward, what we bring forward must be factual too. Anybody with relevant information can submit it through the Major Incident Public Portal, the MIP, the link to which is available on the Lancashire Police website. So thank you, and both Becky and I are happy to take some questions.
So where do they talk about her being an alcoholic?
Hi there, Detective Superintendent. Can you just give us a bit more information about what Nikki's partner told you about her vulnerabilities, and why was it that you had to then identify her as high risk? And also, this is the 20th day that Nicola Bulley has been missing. How confident are you and your team that you will find her alive?
Okay, so firstly, to cover the information about Paul, it's normal in any missing person investigation that you obviously gather as much information at an early stage about the person in question, which is no different, and we did that with Paul. I'm not going to go into the details of those individual vulnerabilities. I've asked you to respect the family who are going through unimaginable pain and distress at this moment. But those vulnerabilities based our decision-making in terms of grading Nicola as high risk, and have continued to form part of my investigation throughout. In terms of, sorry, what was the second part to your question?
It's the 20th day since
Absolutely.
Nicola's been missing. How confident are you and your team that you'll find Nicola Bulley alive?
I hope with all my heart that we find Nicola Bulley alive, more than anything.
How confident are you?
I have told you that my working hypothesis is at the moment, through all the information that we have gathered, that the likelihood is that Nicola has unfortunately gone in the river. However, I have to stress this because this has been continually misconstrued. I cannot be 100% certain of that at the minute because we are continuing. It's a live investigation and there is always information coming in. But we are in the 20th day. We have had a thorough, dedicated, meticulous investigation, and there is not one single piece of information that has come to note that would suggest that Nicola has left those fields.
Andre, ITV's Good Morning Britain. Two questions. First of all, can we confirm whether Nicola was wearing a headset at the time she was?
No, she wasn't.
So she wasn't. She was listening to it directly.
Yes.
Secondly, she comes to the end onto the Iron Bridge and you turn left. So right, you say
Yes.
that's been covered off
Yes.
by CCTV.
Yes.
Are we saying that to the left is a blind spot? And if so, how far down? There's no CCTV there, I take it.
Not on that main road. I can't give you the specifics of the exact how many sites, but we were basically scoping off all the, as you turn left,
Yeah.
we're trawling all that area for any CCTV that we have got, but the main road, that area there, isn't covered, unfortunately. So from the Iron Bridge, so from the Iron Bridge to the school, if you will, there is nothing there, which is why it's so important for the dash cam, because even though they're going to be tiny bite sizes of information, they're not going to be as good as being able to view CCTV. We need to be able to piece together as much of that portion of the road as we can.
And of those 700 cars, how many have been spoken to, or what percentage have been spoken to?
I can't give you exact figures on that because obviously there will have been more today that have come in, but a substantial amount.
Are there any particular cars we're looking for these to feel for?
No. They've all had individual letters to the cars that we know have gone past in the area, not that particular, but in the area. And we've asked for positive responses only, and any dash cam that's come back in, which there has been an amount of, we have reviewed. Some of it doesn't show anything, some is still being reviewed. But at the minute, there is absolutely no sightings of Nicola on there.
Ah,
Did I hear correctly that you were appointed SIO on the Monday?
I was, yes.
Have Lancashire Police missed the trick? Nicola Bulley went missing on Friday, and SIO appointed up until the Monday. Was enough done in the first 24, 48 hours?
I can probably take this. I am satisfied that as Becky has described, following the initial report of Nicola as being missing to Lancashire Police, immediately she was graded as high risk. That in itself is a significant level of risk that does bring with it focused attention and significant resources. So I'm satisfied that given there was no evidence of any crime having occurred at that first point of the report, yes, it was handled appropriately, but as the days began to progress, as would be normal with any high-risk missing person investigation, who hadn't turned up, hadn't been found by Monday, we began to layer in the expertise of a senior investigating officer with all the investigation infrastructure that comes with that.
Jeremy Williamson from Bauer Media. It took Peter Folding and SGI 3 days to determine that Nicky wasn't in that stretch of river. How long will it take Lancashire Police, and how long will you continue searching the River Wyre until you come to the same determination?
there you go.
And again, it's probably something I can take. We the search effort, both water-based and land-based, continues this week. There are police assets, including underwater search officers, continuing that exercise this week. Water is an inherently challenging medium to search, and the River Wyre is tidal and flows out into the estuary near Cockerham Sands, and parts of the river have been searched repeatedly because of the shifting water patterns and tidal nature of it. We've taken the best expertise from people who are experts in the field around coastal movements of water and movements of water on inland waterways. I retain all hope. But the reality is there will be a point at which I need to review in conjunction with Beck as the SIO and the search managers the extent and proportionality of continuing to deploy significant search resources around the River Wyre and the land-based options we have there. So for this week, the search effort is continuing. There will be a point in the days ahead where I do need to review that.
Yes, Susan, I agree with you. This is extremely
Social
frustrating.
media video makers and wannabe detectives, have they been an annoyance or a hindrance in the inquiry?
Take that if you want. Yes, it has significantly distracted the investigation. In 29 years police service, I've never seen anything like it. Some of it's been quite shocking and really hurtful to the family. Obviously, we can't disregard anything, and we've reviewed everything that's come in, but of course it has distracted us significantly. But as long as we are prioritising, which we do constantly, on the information that's coming in, that will not distract us from the priority actions that we have been completing.
Holly Bird, Daily Mirror. I'm just wondering, obviously you're talking about the evidence that you're working with and obviously the main hypothesis. Should you have cordoned off the bench and got forensics in so that you could be more certain that you can rule out things like foul play and be absolutely certain rather than just saying that, you know, it's the main hypothesis?
Yeah, I understand why you would ask that. But at the end of the day, it was treated as a high risk missing from home immediately. And the officers that dealt with it in those days had the land searched immediately, which included the area around the bench.
But you never taped it off.
Between the bench and the gate, not the bench and the water's edge. I mean, I'm never expected to be an expert on dog behaviour.
And I'm not either.
But what do you make of that? What does anyone, what have you consulted on that?
We have consulted people and we're ongoing with consulting people, but obviously I can't speak to the dog. And all we can say is that he was running backward and forwards and he was still in the area where Nicola.
Now that's weird too. Kaz and I have spoke about this for a while, the dog going back from the bench to the gate, to the bench to the gate, like the dog was confused. And there's been a few articles out about Willow's behavior. About the back end. Like it's almost like the dog was dropped off to the area with Nicola being gone, the confusion. Because why didn't, like, it's just weird. Is it? Look at her. Look at how I froze her face. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer. How are you, darling?
This whole case is bizarre. Look at her face right there. I'm so mean. Okay.
as possessions were, and that's all I can say.
But was more interested in the gate and the park being away from there than the actual water.
At that time, when the witness found Willow was between the bench and the gate, however, I have to point out the dog could have got out from there.
We'll take one more question, please, everybody.
I'll go with Ramirez from Talk TV. Has the Police and Crime Commissioner had a meeting to voice any of his concerns surrounding this?
The Police and Crime Commissioner has been kept surprised, but the constabulary has operational independence and has been carrying out the investigation, and information stays with the investigation. That's the nature of policing. Just given I've said one more question, and I'll just give it to Nick to bring one more in. Thank you.
Right, yeah. Thank you. Hannah Allen from the Crime. You've outlined what you've done so far, which is great and really helpful. Thank you. But are you able to talk us through sort of what your plan might be, where the investigation will go in the coming week or so, and also what impact is this having on Lancashire Police resources, and when do you think you may, you may look at?
So the police didn't actually come out and say anything about alcohol or menopause. So how's that been leaked to the press?
What, Kaz?
I said the police never. All the police said was she was high risk. So how in the dickens did the fact that she has alcohol or menopausal problems get leaked to the press? That can only have come from the family.
Exactly. And I didn't watch this, Presty, before I watched it with you guys.
Me
I like to watch it with you guys, and I don't have the time in the day to do that. But that's true. And I keep saying, I'm waiting this whole time to understand where the alcoholism and the menopause came in, because I have yet to hear it.
So where did they, what is their source? Where did that come from?
I guess we're going to have to find out.
God forbid if a family member has told a friend and the friends leak that to the press, because if a friend has done that, that's no friend.
Exactly.
That is no friend.
But now I think you were walking around, but Becky said that her being, she didn't really say the word alcohol, but she said her being, what was the word she used?
High risk.
A high risk person, vulnerable. But she said that Paul told her some things about her being high risk, but she never said the word alcohol or menopause. But she claims that it came from Paul.
Susan, I've watched.
It does, Lana.
I've watched the interviews with Paul, and I don't recall him mentioning alcohol.
Oh no, I did all of Paul's interviews so far, what I have, and I have yet to hear him mention anything about her. Not even, please bring her back, whoever has her. If you're out there, I love you. Like, it's so bizarre. But I've never heard Paul mention that word either. Unless we're missing an interview.
Yeah, true. I mean,
because I just put out.
How many millions of women in the world go through menopause? I mean, I ask you.
We got 1 minute left, Kaz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I've watched, I put out the vanished videos with just Paul's part of all of those, and I can't remember him once mentioning anything that was wrong in their relationship or any negative thing about Nicola. But he doesn't come off as, I don't know. This whole thing is bizarre to me. I'm completely baffled.
Elaborate on the vulnerabilities, but I've had 3 text messages in the past 5 minutes asking what they are and what that's about. So if we want to sort of dial down the speculation, might it make sense to make that clear?
I'll take most of that, I think. I think in terms of the scale of the investigation, it is continuing. That will be kept under review, but it is at as much of a peak of resourcing and intensity as it has been. Both the search and the investigation side will remain under review, but we are a significant size force. Where necessary, we've drawn officers and expertise in from across the force. Our business as usual, police and communities of Lancashire has remained unaffected by this. We've sought support nationally, and we can draw on mutual aid from other police forces and regions if we need to, and what SIO would do. In terms of the vulnerabilities, I feel we've said as much as we can about that. It is personal, private information, no negation, but foremost in our thoughts, in addition to the integrity of the investigation, is the privacy of Nicola's family. So we've said as much as we can with that. So regrettably, we can't take any more questions. Thank you very much. But I do thank you for your attention today. Thank you very much.
All right, I found an article that explains that the police have come out and said, and I quote, it is an unusual choice, they said, that they chose to reveal that Bulley's partner, Paul Ansell, had disclosed that she suffered from issues with alcohol. Sadly, it is clear from speaking to Paul and the family that Nicola had in the past suffered with significant issues with alcohol, which were brought on by her ongoing struggles with the menopause, and that these struggles had resurfaced over recent months. This caused some real challenges for Paul and the family. It is an unusual step for us to take to go to this level of detail about somebody's private life, but we felt it was important to clarify what we meant when we talked about vulnerabilities to avoid any further speculation or misinterpretation. And that's the police coming out with an update 4 hours ago. So it did come from Paul, and the police have just reiterated that it was in The Guardian, darling.
And also another weird one was Paul telling the girls with the helicopter and saying, oh, look at, they're looking for mommy. Like, I get the girls are a little older, but it's just something's weird about Paul.
Yeah, I agree, Susan. Coming from Paul and the family is just hearsay, but a doctor would not give out that information because of it's private information and only the family can say it. But what I said in the beginning, I don't know if you heard me, Susan, but that is information that is, you know, if Nicola comes back, that is something that would be really hard for her mental health, for her to cope with, knowing that the whole of the village, never mind of the whole of the world that's been following the case, but the whole of that tiny village would know that she's had struggles in the past that have resurfaced with alcohol issues.
I mean, but at the end of the day, as much as crime as we watch and stories we followed over the years, this is coming down to either she knew the person and somehow somebody got her off out of there with no problems because there's nothing suspicious, and brought it only makes sense, and I still am going to believe that if they ever figure it out, Willow and the phone were brought back after the fact. And it had to have been somebody who knew that I don't believe that CCTV, if it was working at Caravan, depending on where it was, I don't think that it showed the bench. I think the only thing that shows the bench is the walker buyers that saw her at the bench and the fact that her phone was found on the bench. And I'm convinced of that. You can't convince me otherwise. But I believe they saw her in the upper field. But we have to remember, let's have a look one more time how far that camera would have been from the bench.
Paul 4647, they have been up to the Rowan Water Caravan Park.
Yep. They spent 50 minutes there.
Yeah, a huge 50 minutes. Whoopsie-doo. But they have been up there.
They went for 50 minutes and talked to the owners, and everybody is helping them. Okay, so here's the bench right here.
Yeah.
Here's the camera supposedly at the caravan park. That is it working? Is it not working? I don't know. But honestly, I mean, how far really could it see to the bench? She was last seen standing right here. Now that would probably pick her up.
Yeah. Depends on the range, but yeah, I'd say it could pick her up. Yeah.
Bench, abandoned derelict house, which is a mansion, the towpath, the school, the cemetery, and church in one, and then the gate to go in, the Grapes Club. That's Blackmore Road right here, and then right there, it turns into
Blackpool.
And then it turns into what? Grangstang?
Garstang
Road.
Garstang, I mean, yeah.
And then Alamut Way, and then you've got Rowan Water. I mean, honestly, no one saw her. No one heard anything weird. Nobody saw anything weird. And she just went. She walked the dog. It was fine. She left phone. It's so obvious that somebody brought back the phone and the dog as a decoy. And what, just kind of put the phone down and then threw the leash, the harness to the right between the bench and the wire? You can't tell me different. Who it was, I don't know. Was Paul having an affair and he has a jealous girlfriend? Was she having an affair? Was it somebody that knew her and had a secret crush on her? I don't know. But somebody took her. In my opinion.
There's something weird about this. There is. I mean, if you're having mental health issues, can you still, 1 minute organise a play date and organise to go, give the persona that everything's okay to your family? Yes, you can. Because I'm talking from my own experience. I have been in a scenario where I planned to do something that I shouldn't have been planning to do, but I gave out the persona that everything was honky-dory. I'd made plans to do this, that, and the other with other people, but I had an ulterior plan to do something else. And I made those arrangements with other people so nobody would cotton on what I really had planned. So yes, you can, give off the, that vibe that everything's fine. But in saying that, if you were going to self-harm, you wouldn't do it in an area where you've got dog walkers coming in and out all the time, in 2 to 3 feet of water where the bench was. And I certainly wouldn't take my dog on a walk that she loved dearly that could be stranded, or in a hedge. You might think, well, there'll be a dog walker there, they'll see it, they'll recognise it, my phone will be there, everything will be fine. There is no tidal element where she was, so she would have just... Can you drown in a foot of water? Absolutely. But to forcibly drown yourself in a foot of water is near impossible. Hey, GB.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up after this 2-minute video. This is a neighbor that is explaining how it could have been any one of us. And now I'm suspicious. Not suspicious, but if the man is claiming he saw guys at a cemetery with fishing poles and he's the only one that saw them, who is that guy that is giving an anonymous tip? And I can't get over the headlines on her being an alcoholic now. And this is stemming from an incident that happened 3 weeks prior to her going missing. The cops made a welfare check at the house. They don't give any details, but obviously it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out it involved alcohol. And that's what they're taking that on. And I think that's pretty sad that they even put that out there now.
It's a wonder how the people of this small rural Lancashire village still have hope. But they do, and it's in bucket loads. It's all for Nicola Bulley, still missing, still not at home with her daughters. For them, 19 days without a mum. Almost every morning, Charlotte would say hi to Nicola. They've been neighbours for 5 years. She says since she disappeared, it's been hell.
You cannot have anything but hope and positivity. You have to trust that we're going to find something, because if we haven't got that, what have we got? Can't just give up, and she would never give up.
Giving up is just not an option for anyone. But during half term, with her kids at home, more and more questions are being asked.
She's one of us. That's, I think, why it's hit so many of us so hard around here, the women, the mums, because we've all done this walk. It feels like it could have been any one of us.
The ribbons on the bridge are a clear indication there's still hope amongst many, and lots of it. But on the ground, the police presence is sparse. And from what we've seen,
wow,
the search for Nicola Bulley has significantly decreased. Over the last week, Lancashire Police moved their investigation downstream, boats and divers in the sea to scan for any evidence to locate Nicola's whereabouts. They still believe she accidentally slipped into this huge tidal river. But today, this, just one of a handful of officers searching for clues. Police say they'll continue to look. A family keeps on hoping, but almost 3 weeks on, no one is any closer to finding Nicola. Inzamam Rashid, Sky News, Lancashire.
Yeah, I agree, Lana. I agree.
sad. I do not believe she floated out to the Irish Sea. Not at all.
Paul 4647, you say she was showing us alive on 2nd of February. How do you know that? At Rowan Water.
Huh. Interesting. Huh. I think he might have a spirit box, Kaz. But that is it, guys. We will have to just see what happens with this.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced that somebody knew her. And I'm just convinced the phone and the dog were brought back after they got Nicola out. Because there's no way you could have done that with the Maggie. I mean, why do I'm watching the Murdaugh trial and I keep calling this dog Maggie. My gosh. I just don't see that as being a possibility, as nobody seeing something strange if it wasn't out of the ordinary. And I think she left. Just people didn't see her leaving out of somehow she left. And I truly believe that the car and the car could have been brought back. I mean, do we honestly know?
Well, like you said, Sweater, the school would have CCTV. And it's a Mercedes.
They don't know.
Well, the Mercedes would have, it's a fairly late Mercedes SUV. So it has an inbuilt computer, so they would be able to pull the data from that vehicle if
You're
they
right.
have.
Maybe Paul said, hey, come to the school. I'm going to pick you up. Let's go have a coffee or something. Or a friend said, you never know. But something got her out of there, and it was somebody she knew. And I believe the dog and the phone came back to the scene. I think they were gone, and they came back. That's just my opinion, though. But I love everyone else's opinions.
Sure do.
We'll have to wait and see and pray that maybe she's having an episode like they claim and she's hanging out behind the back room at the Great Bar. I mean, this is ridiculous, people. They botched it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming in.
Think of all the DNA or the fingerprints that could have been on that damn phone that everybody handled, and their boyfriends, sisters, and their nieces and nephews and cousins.
Oh, heck yeah.
It's ridiculous. They could have, Chisme. We don't know, right? None of us know. Everyone, thank you for coming in. Stay vigilant, guys, because obviously you can't even walk your dog in the morning without being kidnapped and thrown into a river. And now you're lost in the Irish Sea.
Mm-hmm. And if you
Bad
wouldn't
girl.
mind, yeah. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button if you haven't already, get it right, Kaz, before you
Yeah,
leave.
we got to try to get back into a little bit of the algorithm. We're done.
Yeah, so you guys can get the notifications because we kind of slipped a bit. That's why you guys aren't getting notifications.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop the new schedule for this next coming up few weeks in the on a community post. All right, everyone, stay vigilant, keep your baby safe, and I think everyone needs to carry a taser. And think of your spirit animal for the zoo.
Bye. Love to all.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, Akazaruru.
Good night, my darling.
Good night, babe.